For the background, what we're going to do, we're going to have like a grid, just a flat grid that we're going to displace it on using the spectra of the small waves, the one that we use for the simulation, and the big waves. We're going to add them together and we're going to displace that at render time. So that's the approach for the background. And for the white water on the background, we only care about the small one because the big geometry, they don't generate white water. The one that generates is the small spectrum, the one that we used in the flip. So this one, we're going to calculate the white water on top of that one, and then we're going to displace it with the big geometry again. So that's our approach for that. Another geonode. Let's call this BG Ocean Grid. All right. And before we go here, we need to save the spectrum. And the spectrum that we want to save, it's in here in the initial, is this one. The resolution of that is just 7. It's not much resolution because we're just driving the simulation and we don't need a lot. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Shift and create a duplicate of that. So now all the parameters are linked to this one. If we ever change this, it's going to automatically change that. But I want to press Ctrl Shift and select this one. And this one I want to increase to 10. So we increase the resolution. Everything is the same. The placement is the same. And I want to save this spectra. So let's call this spectrum flip spec HQ, like high res. Let me just do high res. Okay, so this is going to save as spectra high res, and you can just save this. All right, I have already saved. Mine is the same. Let's save it, and there you go. Okay, so now we have it saved. We can come back. Maybe we can come back to here and just dive inside. We can just bring back that spectrum. Yeah, we can just grab that. You can just like do an object merge. Sorry, sometimes I got like a chip. Sometimes I keep thinking about ideas while I'm recording and yeah, sorry. So let me just go back in here. We're going to select this guy and place it in here. So that's great. And for the grid itself, it's pretty okay, right? Like you don't care about the grid, but our idea is like that. I want to get like there is a node called Ocean Foam. This node, it generates the foam for the background, and it kind of like it can have like a lot of cool things. It's there is a solver and you can use that. So my idea is that based on the distance, we're going to have like two different ones. One that is like from the end of our simulated area all the way to like maybe 200 meters back. This one has going to have a little bit more and a little bit more definition to it. And then we can have another one that goes from 200 meters all the way to 500 to 600 meters. That's really low res, really fast. So the combination of them is the same idea, that the same concept that we've been having in this. So let me before you plug, let's just do a little bit of like start doing like some settings. So the particle density, we can start like with 100, and we need to set like this based on the camera. So we cool things that are outside the camera, and I'm going to call our camera here. So it's this one, this is our camera, and this one we're going to do like from 50 meters to 200. Maybe we can go even like more, because this is from the camera perspective, but we have like this simulation, the main one, and then we have another one that's bigger. So I can say like 70 to 200, and we can keep that a little bit bigger than the camera, so that what it means, it goes a little bit wider than the camera, so we don't cool particles that are just in the edge of the camera. And this, let's do like 0.5. This just means the density is going to fall off with the distance. And also I want to get like the minimum velocity here. And yeah, we can downsample it a bit. We don't need just downsample the ocean evaluate node. That's great. Let's go to the solver tab. Life expectancy, we can set this to 1.5. It's good. 0.5, it's good. Drift rate is how much the particles are going to be advected by the ocean grid movement, like by the velocities of that. So I want to drift a little bit more because we have wind, so it's normal that the particles drift more with the ocean. Mean foam density, that's the areas that we're going to have like the minimum. I want to decrease this to 3, and the maximum we can keep as 10. 0.6, that's the attributes that we want to keep. That's good. I want to also add ID in here. And yeah, start frame, all good. I think we can just plug this and just see what we have. So I'm going to come back to frame 1, and then let's enable that, and let's do like some tests. So let's see from the camera perspective what we're getting. Yeah, you see it's not displaced, it's just generating, because we're going to displace it afterwards. So don't worry with that. It's just more or less the filling, and you can see that we have like a good amount. Maybe we can go like to 200, and let's see the difference. Let me go back, and let's go to frame 6 again. Let's wait it to cook. Yeah, that looks is looking really good. So this is based on the cusp of the waves. So if we do like let's place like a grid. This grid, I want it to be like maybe 200 by 200, and we can have like 1,500, 1,500. Ocean evaluate. If we evaluate this, we're going to see that these particles here, they coincide with the cusp of the wave, the parts of the wave that are sharper. So look to this area. You see this is sharper. It's going to generate whitewater. And the velocities of that, like let me see if we did like point velocity just to visualize here. If I visualize that, you can see that we have like velocities. If the movement is going up, it's pointing up and down, and so forth. So this also, the drift rate is related to that velocities that we get from the simulated, not the simulated, but like the noise in the grid and the variations on that. So yeah, that's just to show. We're going to do another one. So I want to do like a file cache here, and let's call this is our BG whitewater from 50 to 200 meters. That's great. I want to create another one of these. So let's do like an ocean foam again, and let's set the parameters in this one. So this one I want to have a little bit less, so maybe 120 in here. This is also the camera. Let's grab, and this is 200, 600. That's good. We keep as is. 0.9. Also mean velocity and downsample to 1. That means it just making the resolution of the spectrum a little bit lower. And let's come to the solver tab. 1.5. Yeah, 0.5 is good. 3.5 here, the same. Drift rate. Minimum here, 3, the same. And let's keep, okay, yeah, we can keep like that and just add the IG to it. Great, let me copy this guy. And this one is 200, oh, sorry, 200, 600. Okay, and this is also need to be placed on our cache. And this one, cache. Load from disk, load from disk. Then we can just come to this, come to our top network, and let's create this ROP fetch. This won't take too long to simulate, so kind of like a reasonable speed. So yeah, this one I want to add like this, and this is a simulation, so we're going to have like the frame range, but we also want to all frames in one batch. We're going to have now wait for all. We don't want like two simulations running at the same time, at least I don't want. ROP fetch. Here you go. This one going here. And frame range. And that all. So you come here, remember, generate node, save and continue. It's going to generate this for us. 240, 240. And then you can just cook the node. And see you in the next lesson. Thank you. Welcome back. And here is the simulation in my background. So it's this guy. Looks pretty like repetitive, but don't worry. It's just because our grid for that, the one that we use, is very, it's a small grid, so it keep repeating itself over and over. Remember, let me just go in here and show you what I mean. This grid size, it reflects on how much times it's going to repeat around itself. Because we're going to displace it with the big ocean have like a bigger grid. It won't be noticeable, so don't worry about that. It's going to work. But now what I want to do, I want to grab the distance from the camera, and I want the particles that are closer to the camera to have a bigger pscale and a smaller pscale, and then gradually become bigger with the distance. So let's do that. I want to grab I want to do like an object merge. And in this object merge, we're going to grab our camera. Where is the camera? Yeah, this guy. And then the camera origin and accept. So here we have the camera origin. And place this into this object. So if we have a look, it's just this point. This, oh, sorry, this point. Let me, yeah, you can see here. Oh, it's hard to see, right? But it's this little point. This is where our camera is, and it's moving every frame. But don't forget to place into this object. And let me open this guy up. We're going to, we don't actually need to extract the centroid because that's already the point. We can just do like a copy to points. And also let's create a sphere. Okay, yeah, it can be this size. It's fine. Okay, So we have a sphere copied to that point. This is just to calculate the distance. So I'm going to do a pscale by distance. So let me do like a point VOP. And we plug this in here. So I'm going to say pscale by dist, by the distance of the camera. And let's plug this into the second input. Right? Yeah, here it is. So let's grab the XYZ gist again from the second input into the first input, and we're going to fit range. The fit range in this case is from whatever we have set here. So if we grab here 70, like I'm going to copy this parameter, dive inside, paste relative reference, because this is the minimum distance, we already know that, and copy parameter and paste relative reference. And if we did it correctly, we're going to have like a gradient coming from black to white based on the distance of the camera. Wherever is very close is 0, and wherever is there is 1. But what we want is to have like a 1 and 3. So you have like wherever is close to the camera has a value of 1, and here there is a value of 3. And then if we come and get our bind export, if we do a pscale, copy and paste, so we have the pscale, we're going to multiply it by this, and we're going to get like the pscale again. So we are getting the original pscale, we're multiplying by this value, so some of them, the closer to the camera, are going to keep the same size, but the ones that are distant from the camera, they're going to have like a larger pscale. All right. So let's try to visualize that in here. Yeah, you see that's the effect that we have. Great. If you think that is too much, you can always reduce this a little bit, and you need to test these things while we are working with the render. So it's the final tweaks that we do at render time, so don't worry, and we don't need to visualize that in the colors. Also, if you feel like that from the distance it look a lot, right? Like it's very because the points have all the same size, but once you dive in, you have like these patches that are a little bit thicker than others, and you have like all these. And I think it's going to look great once displaced, because some of them are going to be hidden behind a big wave or something like that. Now what we can do, we can just copy this and do the same thing for it here, right? But for this one, we need to just copy this one, copy parameter, dive inside, paste relative reference. And if you just change this to here, to true, because this is the true, it's probably going to get the correct one. So it's going to be 600, yeah. And then we're doing the same thing for the other one. And that's what we want. Now we need to displace that with the spectrum. So let's do that. We need to have like the two spectrums. So I'm going to do a point VOP, and let's call this add spectra. Okay. So we need to get like a ocean sample layers. Great. We need to sample the position, and we need the time to be on the time, and we're going to promote this parameter, and let's call this spec mid, or spec flip, because this is the one from the flip spectrum, right? And now we can have like the other one. So ocean sample layers, the time goes into the time, the position goes into the position, and we middle click. Oh, not this one. We middle click and get like this one. How did you call it? Spec flip. So spec big. Spec big. What is going on? I don't know why it's not showing. Let me try to get it here. Yeah, not working. Spectrum big and big spec. Yeah, don't know why I have let that, but now we need to add those to the position. So add, that's the original position. We're going to add this one and add the other one. So it's one plus the other, right? Like it's how it should be. And in here, and nothing will happen. But then if you add the files for that, so I guess like this is the mid, doesn't matter like how do you want to. So this is, I want to go to the heap or actually to my cache. So I'm going to do dollar cache, and I think we have like a spectrum to geo. No, press surface. Sorry, I have a lot of. Let me go if it's in here, inside geo spectra. Yeah, so I have the big waves and the flat spectrum. This is the one that I want, just the naming they used. So it's already deforming the one that we have in the flip, and now the big one. So it's the same thing, hip geo spectrum and the big waves. Yeah, now we have like it deformed. So we can just copy this one and add that to the background as well. So yeah, the ones in the back, they also have following the same pattern, and they are ready. They are already prepared to go. The thing is that they might be lacking the, yeah, they do lack the density. So I'm going to also create a density attribute for them because they don't. So let me see the range of the pscale. Pscale on these guys are coming from 0, 13 to 41. 13 to 41. So I'm going to do another point pop, set density bg, set density, yeah, I don't know, whatever, because we're just going to have like another one here. So this is, we're going to bind, export our density, density, and we need to grab our pscale and let's fit range. Pscale is coming from 0, 13 to 41. 0 0.30, 0.41, and we're going to set like this to 1 and 3, and that's it. So we have set our density attribute here. The density is coming from 1 to 3, and we can do the same thing here, but we need to see our pscale in these guys are smaller, right? So 0.04 to 0.13. You see that the maximum size here matches the minimum size here, because the end of this is the beginning of that. So 0.13 is the same. That's really good. But start with 0.04. So I'm going to go here, 0.04 and 0.13. And we have set the density here. We can output those. So let's place a null. Awesome. Let's just, because we're here, let's set the grid for rendering. I'm going to get like a grid. This grid, we can make it like big, maybe like 5,000 by 5,000. Oh, not 500, 5,000. Can have just like a little bit of geometry, nothing much. And we can actually try to visualize this. Oh, sorry. I want to just the center of it. We can do this based on the camera. So we can just grab this guy and let's see this. And let's, maybe we can get like the camera. And let's place the center of this. We are going to get like just a little bit, you know, like you just need a little bit of overlap, but not much. I'll say this is good for us, like that, because we have also, if we come here, we can just visualize this guy and this guy. We just need a little bit of overlap, but not that much. So we can even go here and move it. Yeah, like that. We just see, we need to see if we're looking, still can see that. So let me see. I think we need more. So I'm going to bring it down. Yeah, like that. So, and maybe this one as well. Let's go all the way to the end of this. Yeah, like that. So we maximize the horizon that we have in here. So yeah, you see, like I have like a big grid, and we need to do like a volume extrude. 10 meters down, as the thickness of this doesn't look big because of the dimensions that we have. And then a null. This is our render BG ocean geo. And this is our vol. Great. And the next lesson, we are going to start setting up Solaris, and we can just do the first renders to see how everything plays, and if we're having a good if we need to do any extra tweaking before. And then after I'm going to leave the rain and the foreground mist for the last, so we can keep just visualizing what we have so far. Very excited. I think we set up a lot of things. If you're having trouble with storing the data in your hard drives, I understand. Try to decrease a little bit the amount of whitewater, the size of your general scene, because the concepts are the important thing. If one day you're going to get like a better hardware, or if the technology is going to evolve, or you can store the data in the cloud with a very fast internet. So the key thing is to understand the concepts, and if you need to play with much less particles, that's fine. You understood how it works, and it's going to look nice, and you can just increase the pscale for the whitewater to look big. Yeah, because I know that's a lot of elements, but this is it's a huge storm, and there is naturally a lot of things going on. So thank you, and see you in the next